So in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about solving systems of linear equations, and we're going to do some application problems. So we'll first start by setting up the system of linear equations, and then we'll go ahead and solve the system of linear equations. So the first problem, whoops, that is a large pen. So for the first problem, we have a rectangular plot of land. So we have a rectangular plot of land where the length is going to be 255 yards longer than the width. So we have, let's say the width is here and the length is here. And we're given that the length is going to be equal to the width plus 255 yards. And then suppose we also know that the perimeter is going to be equal to 1,206 yards. So our goal is to figure out what the length and the width are. So we're going to set up a system of equations using our length and width. Well, first of all, we know that our length is equal to our width plus 255 yards. Well, I can rearrange that around and say the length minus the width is equal to 255. We also know that the perimeter is equal to 1,206. Well, the perimeter would be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, and that should be equal to this 1,206. So this would be our system of equations. And now with this system, you can use elimination or substitution. I'm going to use substitution because we already have this nice length is equal to width plus 255. So now when we're solving, we're going to plug in that our length is equal to the width plus 255. Notice I'm just plugging in my length in this second equation for W plus 255. And then I have plus 2W is equal to 1,206. And now I'm going to solve this equation for W. I can start by distributing the 2. I get 2W plus 510 plus 2W is equal to 1,206. I can combine like terms and get 4W plus 510 is equal to 1,206. I can subtract 510 from both sides of the equation, and I get 4W is equal to I get 4W is equal to 696, and then I can divide both sides by 4 and get the W is equal to 174, and that would be yards. Okay, so that's the width of this rectangle. Now to find the length of the rectangle, we just need to recall in pink right here that the length is equal to W plus 255. So our length is going to be equal to 174 plus 255. So our length is equal to 429 yards. All right. For our next problem, we're going to have a banking problem. So I'm going to write kind of the highlights of the problem. So suppose we have this person who has Suppose we have this person who has $12,100 to invest. And suppose she decides to invest her money in, let's say, bonds and mutual funds. Let's say that the bonds have an 8% interest each year. And let's say that the mutual fund has a 9% interest each year. Now, suppose we know somehow that the total income she earned from the investments was $1,043. So her total yield was equal to $1,043. Okay, so I can come up with two variables. I can use B to be the amount that I invested in bonds, and I can use M to the amount to be the amount that I invested in mutual funds. And we're going to set up a system of linear equations with B and M as our variables. So the first thing that we know is that we invested in total this $12,100. So B plus M for sure should sum to $12,100. The second thing we know is that our total yield is going to be $1,043, which means that if I take the interest that I earned from my bonds, which is going to be 0.08 times whatever I invested in my bonds, and I add that to 0.09 times M, which is going to be the interest that I earned for my mutual funds, that's got to be equal to 1,043. So now I have a system of equations which I can solve either via substitution or elimination. I'm going to go ahead and solve this one using elimination since the previous one we did substitution. So notice that if you multiply the first equation by 0.09, we're going to be able to eliminate our M variable. So I've got 0.09B plus 0.09M is going to be equal to, now I need to do 0.09 times 12,100, and that gives me 1,089. And I'm going to stack that with my second equation, 0.08B plus 0.09M is equal to 1,043. And I can subtract these equations. So I end up getting 0.01B, my M's cancel, is equal to 1,089 minus 1,043, which gives me 46. Then I can divide out by 0.01 and get that B is going to be equal to 4,600. So this is going to be the amount that I invested into my bonds. And to figure out the amount that I invested in my mutual funds, I just subtract this from 12,100. And we'll figure out that we invested 7,500 into our mutual funds.